What's happening? What's happening? What's happening? You are now watching Juke Boy Sports Show. I'm your host, King Ralph, here with my co-host and the homie, the homie Kai. What's happening, bro? How you feeling, fam?
And I'm feeling wonderful. I'm feeling great. I'm feeling blessed to be back for another episode. It feels like it's been forever, bro.
Yeah. But we back one more again.
Yo.
Goods. Ready for another good episode. But before we get started, this show has been brought to you by Fitboxer. If you want to do any podcasts like what you're watching, music videos, photo shoots, call the number on the bottom of the screen, 707 Fitboxer. And make sure you go and you follow all our socials. Like our page on Facebook, the He Say She Say channel. Like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff on YouTube at J.U.K. media. Go and follow our Instagram page on Instagram, like I said, J.U.K. sports show. Follow all of my socials from TikTok, Twitch, Threads, Instagram at KYNGRALPH at an _. For Twitter. And make sure for unbiased breakdown and analysis, you go and you follow on Instagram. Go in that search bar, type in at @v.houseofhoops. Kai gonna get you right.
Yes, sir.
I forgot to do it last week, but I got to stun on him a little bit.
Okay.
I got a champion fantasy football draft. And if you look,
that is awesome. That's sweet. That's a real trophy, man. Oh, bro.
2022.
Engraved with the name.
And RIP to the homie Josh. We got this in his love and memory.
Okay. Rest in peace, man. Definitely.
But we got a good show ahead of us, man. Going straight in. I'm going in. And so we wish the USA team would have went in the way that we thought. But there's been a lot of talks about the narrative of the world catching up. I personally feel like we didn't put the best product on the floor. But was this team good enough to take the gold?
You know, they always say hindsight is 20/20, but I look at it from this perspective. I think that they lacked size and they lacked rebounding. It is really we had to look at it objectively, at least through my lens. Is the NBA how the game is, Ralph, in American sports now and basketball? It's very analytic based and it's very 3-point shooting based. And so when you have guys like Paolo Banchero playing the 5 spot, which we did talk about early on another episode of the show, that causes, cause for concern. And you talk about rebounding. Now, in the game versus Canada, I actually don't think that they got out-rebounded. But I know they got out-rebounded by 15 rebounds or so versus Germany. And that was the same team that presented problems for them as well before the cup started, essentially, right? And so I'm looking at that lack of size, and I'm looking at the lack of prominent big men in the NBA right now that aren't international players, right? So when you look at the big men, you have Zubac, who would be considered an international player. You have Giannis, you have Jokic, now you have Victor Wembanyama, you have Joel Embiid, but Embiid is now a U.S. citizen, so it would be, does he want to play? You have guys like Karl Anthony Towns. So I think that when I look at how the team that they constructed, you had a lot of players who, like Austin Reeves, he's not a star on his team. He's an ancillary piece that is a good hustle player. He can shoot the 3. He had a lot of fan backing, a lot of social media backing, et cetera. He's like a championship guy that you want on your team, right? But in terms of shot creation also, how many shot creators do they really have? And I felt like as the tournament continued and they got deeper and deeper into it, Anthony Edwards had to do a lot. I noticed in both those games. Austin Reeves, he was able to show up. But what were you getting out of the other pieces on that team, right? So I think that they just lacked size all the way around. I think they lacked rebounding all the way around. And I think that they played politics. Shout out to Gilbert Arenas too much in putting out the best product on the floor. And then finally, I do believe that there is a certain style of basketball that internationally that they do play that the NBA didn't really take into account. And so they need to consider that next time when they do the roster construction. And I will say this, though, Ralph, if you look at international teams, all the international teams compared to 1992, which Steve Kerr mentioned, actually do have NBA players. In 1992, to his credit, they didn't all have NBA players. So at least they have 1 or 2 NBA players, sometimes more. Look at Canada. Dylan Brooks, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who averaged like 35 in our league, right? Jamal Murray didn't play, but there was someone else I'm missing. You might be able to fill in the blanks for me. Yeah. And Dylan Brooks was really good too. I know you. And I know
Kelly Olynyk is on that team. Like
Olynyk, thank you.
Canada got like 4 or 5, maybe 6.
Yeah. But I said my piece because I don't want to like take up the whole topic. So I kind of want you to give the people your perspective and what you saw from it as well, man.
And me personally, bro, I just don't think our team was good enough, man. I think that there's a couple of different things that you can go through. Yes, do I think when you look at the spectrum of the talent that was there on other teams, I think that our talent was better. But at the same time, when you look at how dominant we've been in the past, at the times we were dominant, our talent was not the best. I mean, our talent was the best. So you go and you look at Anthony Edwards, Jaren Jackson, Brandon Ingram, and I'll give Tyrese Halliburton and Jalen Brunson, for example. When you go through the list and rank them at their position, you could probably name, when it comes to Jaren Jackson, you probably can get 3, maybe 4 before you mention him. Then when you go to Anthony Edwards, 3, 4, then at some point you got to bring up Anthony Edwards and Brandon Ingram. The same thing goes for a Jalen Brunson or Tyrese Halliburton. Maybe Tyrese Halliburton will probably be named a little higher than Jalen Brunson, but I do think that Jalen Brunson is probably one of the most underrated guards in our league. So I think that when you start to you start to name players on the team, yes, we have talent on that team. Mikal Bridges, what he was able to do when he got the bulk of the shots on his team. Cam Johnson, strap. Jalen Brunson, when he was able to be the main guy on the team. Tyrese Halliburton, 20-10 this year. All-star berth. Banchero came into the league averaging 22, 23. And then Jaren Jackson is coming off of a defensive player of the year. Anthony Edwards has showed you what he's been able to do. Just improving at every piece, every point of the year. Brandon Ingram, 26, 27, 28 points a game. Mm-hmm. So, yes, we had the talent, but at the end of the day, I just don't think that those roles, people being able to come in and play those roles, I think that certain things played a part in it. Not knowing the FIBA rules, being able to slap the ball off the rim, not being able to – you can pack the paint, and there is no 3-second count. Then when it comes to trying to space out the floor, you're used to NBA rules. Your rotations are not as quick because you're thinking, oh, I got to get out the paint when you never had to get out the paint in the first place.
Facts.
And so then not having shooters, legit shooters, that when they move – on certain action, it's not moving the defense in any way. And so I think that we can better construct the team to get the gold. And from everything, the way the social media been going crazy ever since they lost, it looks like they're going to bring the big guns for the next one.
Yeah. We got Paris Olympics 2024. They're talking about Steph, LeBron, potentially KD, AD, and Draymond Green. So, yeah.
So we'll see what happens with that. But next up, we just wrapped up NFL Week 1. Mm-hmm. We got some rookie grades.
All right.
Anthony Richardson. What do you give him?
So Anthony Richardson, out of the 3 quarterbacks, I actually gave him the highest grade route. Yeah, I actually based each. Yeah, I actually based them based off their opponent, the level of difficulty of the opponent that they played. I looked at how they threw the football, also the weapons, the pieces that they had surrounded them. And so I took some notes and I watched every single throw and every single run, courtesy of the NFL website. I can post that on YouTube. So what I noticed was that he showcased his athleticism a lot, was able to get flushed out of the pocket, kept his eyes down the field. He has a rocket arm. He did throw maybe a pass or two behind a receiver, but he was very hard for defensive linemen and our linebackers to take down. He had 233 pass yards. He had a passing touchdown, which he threw to Michael Pittman, courtesy of good blocking, which Pittman scored. He also had a rushing touchdown where he sustained a drive, and he almost scored at the end of the game on the drive that he wound up getting injured. I think he injured like his knee or his leg or whatever. He took, maybe one or two unnecessary hits. The one thing I wanted to say, Ralph, and I'll swing it to you on it, Richardson and others, was his confidence out of all the other quarterbacks jumped off the screen. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, to me, they were boys. Anthony Richardson was like, I've been here before. Now, he didn't go out and throw 400 passing yards. Like, he literally looked like, I've been here before. And so I think he gets some unjustified narratives or unjustified, maybe dare I say, hate and detractors due to how he performed at Florida. And I'm like, just watch the game. NFL, that's what matters, right? So, quick little stat: first round quarterbacks are 0-10 in their first start in the last 3 seasons. So none of these quarterbacks wound up winning their game. Anthony Richardson played the best for me, so I gave him a grade of a B-. All right, what about you, man?
I'm gonna be somewhere right around where you are for all the reasons that you said. He looked poised. He didn't look like the moment was too big for him. There was just some throws that, like, with adjustments, like, and they're up 21-17. Trevor Lawrence leads his team to a touchdown. They take the lead 24-21. Now he's leading a drive to try to take the lead again, and then he throws an interception. You look at that interception, the person he's throwing to is open, but if you put some touch on that pass, you put the ball over the defender to where the defender makes a good play, an athletic play, getting up, being able to get up in the air, get his hands in the air, and snatch it out the air. It's not like he threw it straight to him. So there's certain things where you look at where we're going to talk about some of the others, and he just looked good.
He really did.
Than I expected him to look. I thought he wasn't ready, and he showed me that although in a loss, he lost to who, if you go back to last week, I picked Trevor Lawrence to win MVP. So,
Same.
and we picked them to have about 13 victories. Coach of the year. And you lost by 10 points in total, but I think at the point of his injury, it was a closer game than what it was.
Yep.
And so C- for me.
Okay.
In my estimate. Next up, C.J. Stroud, my boy.
C.J. Stroud. All right. So I gave C.J. Stroud, he had 28 out of 44 of his passes. I want to make a quick note. I've said this before. Completion percentage to me it's important, but it's also an overrated stat without context because you got to think about drops as well. But he had 44 pass attempts versus a vaunted Baltimore Ravens defense, which you could say who has arguably the best linebacking duo in Roquan Smith, who had 16 tackles and a sack, and Patrick Queen. When they're together, they play very well in unison. And no picks on 44 dropbacks. Here's the thing. That's my team, the Ravens, so I got a chance to watch the game. There was 2 potential interceptions, Ralph, on throws that he shouldn't have thrown. And so it's potential, but it's like, bro, you barely you know what I'm saying? I'm like, man, that joy almost got, so putting that ball in harm's way. So I do consider that. I do have the doctrine for that. He faced pressure, however, from every area of the field, and he was down 3 linemen that did not play in that game. So out of the 3 quarterbacks, using context, he faced the toughest defense, and it was on the road against the Baltimore Ravens. So I factored that in. He's the first player to catch his own pass since Brett Favre in 1992, but that wasn't his fault. I think Owe or someone, it was either Owe or Queen had blocked it, but he did a good job of catching it, so it was an interception. I said he showcased a good ability to evade pressure. He kept his eyes once again down the field, rolling out of the pocket. Here's the thing. He was like Dink and Dak a lot of that game, Ralph. Yeah. He did a lot of drops offs behind the line of scrimmage. He was good in the intermediate middle passing game, but he didn't take many deep shots. As a matter of fact, I had him taking one deep shot, and that was double covered down the field, which is a bomb deep, but nobody was really open. So he just kind of was like throwing it away. So it made me think, was the game plan by the offensive coordinator they have to not allow him, like you were talking about with Anthony Richardson and others, to take, the deep shots down the field. So it's like, is it him or is it the coordinator? And so I feel like the game plan was very safe versus the defense. So I originally gave a lot of these quarterbacks a C, but I gave Richardson a B- because he had 2 touchdowns. So with CJ Stroud, he didn't score though. I gave him a grade of a C though. Other than that, he didn't turn the ball over, 44 pass attempts versus the defense. I factored that in. So I gave him a C for me.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. C, I gave him a C as well. I think that what he was able to do with what was given to him, top 10 defense, young receiving core, no real stars to be thrown to, and his team was awful last year. So you got to look at what, like, everything has context. So I think that what we're looking at here, 44 pass attempts, 28 completions, 64% completion percentage. His yards in this game, you're looking at about 41 in projection if he continues at this pace. So a 4,000-yard rookie season it's a good look. Now you would like for him to get the touchdown totals up. I'm happy with that defense. No interceptions. I don't even think he had a fumble. He was sacked 5 times.
He was sacked, but
sacked 5 times, no fumbles, no turnovers. And so for that and that reason alone, I'm gonna give him a C, being able to play against that defense. But the reason why I'm giving Anthony Richardson that C+, 2 touchdowns up against a good team, had your team winning going into the fourth quarter, but you just weren't able to pull it out, where CJ never really – I think that the Ravens played down to their talent that they were playing against, and that's why the game was even close at one point.
Yep.
And then next up, the number 1 pick.
All right.
Bryce Young.
So the number 1 pick, but he's last on this list. So no,
most definitely.
Look, man, he did some good things well, but it didn't start off too hot for me because it seemed like he lost the ball in the handoff exchange. It wasn't the running back's fault because it was going back to Bryce Young when I was looking at it again. And he just almost fumbled the ball. So that's not how you want to start the game. One thing I did see about him, Ralph, was he was poised in the pocket and he was able to sense the pressure and be able to run. So I did like that. He was able to run for a few first downs, getting the ball out of bounds. But here's where we're going to showcase our NFC Defensive Player of the Week in Jesse Bates. Look, man, they don't have receivers on the Panthers, unfortunately, right? Hayden Hurst cannot be your number 1 receiver. And Hayden Hurst is a nice tight end. He's a solid tight end, former Baltimore Raven, but he wanted to go elsewhere. Now he's jumping from team to team. But Hayden Hurst can't be your number 1 receiver. The receivers really didn't get much separation. That being said, he did have all day to throw, and you're trying to there was single high safety, and you're looking at Jesse Bates, and you're trying to move the eyes, and you see Bates isn't moving. And then you're like, all right, let me throw it to him anyway. You're like, ha, and you throw it to him, pick. Then there's another play where you throw it to him again. I'm like, and it wasn't like you were under duress. So I had to rewind. I'm like, wait, but he wasn't under duress when he threw those picks. So I had to knock him for that. He only had 140 passing yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks. And he did overthrow Terrace Marshall in the fourth quarter. I had it on a 1st and 10 play where Terrace Marshall was open and he actually overthrew him by a wide margin. But he didn't look erratic in his play, and fidgety in the pocket per se. It's just that, you got to do a better job taking care of the football. The Falcons defense doesn't scare anybody. You should be more concerned about their offense. But I was kind, and I'm not going to give him an F or anything like that. I gave him a C-, man, because I feel like all these quarterbacks, they didn't look like Ryan Leaf out there, man. It did some good things, it did some bad things. It was just really the turnovers for me, Ralph. That was about it for me. And it's game 1. So,
That's why for me, man, give it the hype.
Mm-hmm. The hype.
given the hype and the performance, and then when you look at his stats, it's hard to look at.
Yeah.
What's Anthony Richardson almost had a 65 completion percentage.
That's good.
Around 250 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, probably 300 yards in total offense for Anthony Richardson, and 2 touchdowns. Then you go to CJ, we just talked about 63, 64%, no turnovers.
Mm-hmm.
Then Bryce Young, a fumble, 2 interceptions, not under duress, 53% completion percentage, not even 150 passing yards.
That's pretty bad.
I just got it. It's D at best.
Hey, that's fine. That's fine, man. We need that.
Yeah, a D at best.
I'm too kind over here.
Yeah. So it sucks, bro. Like, I hate to do it to him. Because it is. I don't want to be too harsh. You do got to start somewhere. It's not like he has this deep weapon pool, but he does have some young talent mixed in with the Adam Thielen, a Hayden Hurst, Terrence Marshall. But you got to shore up some of those things. And Frank Wright got to put him, if he's supposed to be this quarterback guru, he got to put him in the right spot to be able to succeed.
Hey, and real quick, bro, one of these teams is probably going to try to tank to get Marvin Harrison Jr. after these performances. So, like, yo, we need a receiver.
Hey, if I'm Houston.
Right, because they had no receivers when we were out there. I'm like, yo, who is your number one receiver, bro? Tank Dell? I'm like, yeah, get another one, bro.
Yeah. And there was a play where Tank got hit right in the hands.
Right. And Tank did a little something, but
you can't go out there talking stuff and then come out, get hit in the hands and drop it.
Yeah.
And so we still talking about week 1. But who are some of your winners, bro?
All right, so my winners, right? I know there's a lot of talk on Tua and Tyreek, and justifiably so. They were spectacular. They were immaculate. But I'm going to give some credit to the people that don't get talked about a lot. How about the Dolphins of the O-line, bro? The Dolphins of O-line, the Dolphins. I can't even say Dolphins anymore. Anyway, their offensive line kept Tua clean on 45 dropbacks, 0 sacks. I like that. Without their left tackle, their best, player on their line, Teron Armstead. So for Tua to be able to accumulate what was like 466 passing yards or something like that, and throw for those touchdowns and those many dropbacks and keep him clean, a quarterback who has a history of concussions, he's a winner. And then I have 2 more winners. This might piggyback on something that you might have, but I have Jordan Love. So I'm showing some love to Jordan Love. And he beat the division rival Bears in the post-Aaron Rodgers era. 3 touchdowns, no picks. I like his poise in the game. I like that if it was a division rival. And if I'm not mistaken, was it a road game? Or no, it wasn't. No, it was a
home game.
It was a home game. Okay, his mom was in the stands, right?
No, it was a home. It was a road game.
It was a road game. Okay, yeah. So that was like really, really cool for him to see. And he'd been waiting for this moment. He mentioned he was waiting for the moment. So he prepared and he performed at the moment. And then my last one is Puka Nacua, somebody who I told myself pick him up before the start of week 1. Because everyone on the waiver wire is going to want to get him. But I could not predict he was going to have 10 catches for 119 yards. And it's not so much a stat line, as impressive as that is in your pro debut, Ralph, but it's the fact that how he was making those catches, bro. He was doing Tony toe tap on the sideline over the middle, bro. I was like, what?
Good, man. He looked good for somebody I didn't scout him, bro.
Cooper sipping pina coladas, man. He was like, you know what? My hamstring ain't feeling too good for another 6 weeks, man.
Yeah.
I just want to come back to this dusty team. So those are my winners, bro. I'm gonna let you take the show, bro, and give your winners, man.
My winners, man. The 49ers as a whole. I'm gonna go 49ers as a whole because, and maybe even to a certain degree, Brock Purdy, because we had questions on the injury. Is he for real?
Mm-hmm.
They trade Trey Lance. Let Jimmy Garoppolo walk. And then what do? Defense comes out, makes Kenny Pickett look like we got questions of Kenny Pickett.
Yeah.
And so now we're looking at 49ers look like the team to beat in the NFC. The Eagles struggle a little bit, but they're able to eke out a victory. So now we're looking at 49ers are the team to beat, is what it looks like. I know this week 1. There's 18 full regular season weeks. So we got 17 more to go and a bunch of playoff football, but I'm going to go 49ers.
Okay.
That's one of my winners. I'm going to go Packers organization, being able to pick up right where Aaron Rodgers, they still own the Bears.
Yep. It's like they still own them, man.
They own the Bears, man. Like that, at one point, that pass rush was pass rushing. Jair Alexander was loud and proud, like he normally is. Aaron Jones, when they were giving him opportunities, was running all over the place. And Jordan Love, no interceptions, 3 touchdowns, and a victory.
Victory
So
Monday.
those are my winners. And I'm going to lead off with my loser on the other end. We got great segue. Chicago Bears are the losers. And I'm not even really necessarily going to put anything on Justin Fields just yet. It's week 1 with new weapons. But I didn't see anything that displayed even from a play calling standpoint, those new weapons. It wasn't until they were down by 2 touchdowns is when you finally had a drive where you let him throw the ball down the field. I feel like a lot of it was inability to pass protect still, and just a lack of creative play calling. And so I think that it was a lot of dink and dunk, like we talked about with some of the other young quarterbacks. But if you're going to go and get a DJ Moore, you're going to bring back a Cole Kmet, you're going to have a Khalil Herbert. The one shining part is Roschon Johnson, who is someone I've talked about a lot. And he showed me everything that I think he could be a 3-down back.
Facts.
And so that's the one shining part of our offense, is that's when we finally got a little bit of juice, the way he was running people over. And so that's one of my losers. And then we got the Buffalo Bills. Monday Night Football. Aaron Rodgers gets hurt 15 seconds into the game. What does Josh Allen do? 3 interceptions. And some terrible, and they look terrible too. And so I don't blame Diggs for looking like he wanted to smack fire out of him.
That tweet I sent you, bro.
Yeah, bro, like look on his face, like, bro, who are you throwing to? And I think at some point we got to have this real conversation of why do certain people get this pass? Oh, they have this arm talent. Oh, they have this, they have that, but then certain people don't get this pass. And so, loser for me, Josh Allen and them Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
As well as the offensive coordinator for the Chicago Bears.
Oh, okay. Hey, throwing that wrench in there, man. Like, you about to turn in your pink slip if you have a repeat of this performance next week.
Yeah, bro. You better open up that play calling, bro. And I think next week we got the I say we because I'm a big Justin Fields fan.
No, you can be a Bears and Raiders fan too. It's okay,
yeah,
bro.
when I say we, but I think next week it's the Buccaneers.
Oh, you definitely better show out for
if
that.
They go down 0-2 and have a bad outing, yeah. Somebody got to get fired.
Right. Facts, man. They're going to bring in Marty Schottenheimer or someone like, I don't know. No.
Somebody.
All right. So I like all those. I love all those losers, man. I don't want to be a loser, but I understand those losers. So, yeah. For me, I got to go with the New York Football Giants, man. Bro, look, man, I saw this thing on the internet. They was talking they said that Brian Dable, the New York Police department said, "Take off your hat." And and Dable said, "Why? I thought it was the honor of the police." He's like, "Yeah, but not like that." So the Giants, courtesy of the Athletic, tweeted out that no team has done this in a season. Lost 40-0, lost the sack battle by 7-0, lost a turnover battle by 3 or more 0, had a blocked field goal and returned for a touchdown, and threw a pick six in one season. The Giants did it in one game. Bro, that game was horrible. Like literally horrible.
Yeah, it got ugly quick.
Right. And so I feel bad because my other honorable mention, even though they should just won't be on there, but you can have multiple winners. For winner was the Dallas Cowboys defense because, like, are the Cowboys defense that good? And I'm giving credence to the Cowboys defense. But still, there's no reason for Daniel Jones, who got paid, I think it was $160 million, prime time, divisional game with great responsibilities. With great power comes great responsibility. And me and you talked about prior about expectation. They have expectation now, right? And I was not a believer in Daniel Jones. I believe in Dable, but the coach can only take you but so far. The players have to play. Word to Michael Jordan. He said that, man. Players win championships. Sorry. So I got to go with the New York Giants as my biggest loser. And I'm not talking weight loss, man. I'm talking the New York Giants. So, yeah. All right. Number 2, I have Ryan Tannehill. Lord have mercy, bro. This dude is a loser because he threw 3 interceptions, and guess who's going to be the starting quarterback week 2? Ryan Tannehill. So, yeah, you're a loser, man, for the Titans organization. You have no backup plan, bro. You might as well tank for Caleb Williams. I wouldn't be mad at that, bro. He has better ball placement than Tannehill because all Tannehill does is place the ball in the opponent's hands. All right.
That's a bar, man. That's a bar.
Hey, we gotta put that on TikTok on the shorts, the whole knot. But and then we have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh man, bro, I'm dancing, bro. I'm dancing like Michael Jackson in that Billie Jean music video when I saw the Steelers on my losers list. You had the 49ers as the winners, man. They made the Steelers look like not a football team, bro. That Pickett to Pickens duo, it was non-existent. And, you know, Mike Tomlin going to make people feel really uncomfortable in that locker room. You know, he's like, don't get comfortable. Hey, Mike Tomlin going to be in on them all week, man, bro. Yeah. So I expect the Steelers to actually bounce back week 2. They need to bounce back. I believe in Mike Tomlin. But they had tough sledding. I didn't expect Najee Harris to be able to do anything anyway versus that defensive front. And I think they play Cleveland's defense. Yeah, good luck with that. So I got the Steelers, man.
Oh, so, on Monday Night Football too?
Ooh. Right. Yeah, so, you know, man, Tomlin going to be on him, bro. So
Yeah. Hey, is this going to be his first losing season?
8-8. I don't know, man. We'll see. 8-8.
Yeah.
I don't know. Pickett didn't look good at all. Like,
at all, man.
At all, bro.
Terrible.
Terrible. So I think it's going to come down to Pickett and Watson, who can play better throughout the course of the season. You know.
So we got the WNBA playoffs have kicked off. Las Vegas Aces putting a whooping on the Chicago Sky.
53-36 at halftime right now.
So we got the number 1 Las Vegas Aces going up against the number 8 Chicago Sky. Sweet.
Yeah.
Sweet. Get the brooms. Hey, Rob, get the brooms.
Hey, look.
No disrespect.
Yeah. No disrespect, man. But yeah, I was gonna say Halloween is not the only time you will be seeing brooms around in this studio, man. We will have brooms for the Aces sweeping the Chicago Sky. No disrespect to Chicago Sky. Wonderful organization, full of great players, but sometimes you run up against that juggernaut, right, Ralph? You know what I'm saying? That juggernaut. And I think the Aces, they're coming in trying to click at the right time, and their eyes are on a back-to-back. They're trying to get to the chip, right? So in a world of super teams, they are playing super good tonight with a 56-36 halftime lead. and they just have too much depth. They have too much star power. They have a defensive anchor in Asia Wilson who can also give you buckets at any time. And I just think that it's like, the story of the boy in the well. It's not the boy in the well. Oh, the boy who, what is it? It's that old folklore where like there's water that comes through like the peephole, and the boy like has to block the peephole or something like that. Yeah. Well, there's too many holes for the sky to try to plug in this game. So I think that this series is going to be over in short order. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, when we're talking about the WNBA for this round, it's the best of three. So, yeah, I'm going with the Aces. Ralph.
I agree, man. I think that there's some good talent. Chicago has some good talent, man. Right now, Marina Mabrey, Smith, and Copper are having good games. But when you talk about that depth, you got Jackie, Asia, Kelsey, Chelsea, all got 10 points or more. Jackie and Chelsea Gray have 4 and 5 assists. Kia Stokes got 9 rebounds,
Mm-hmm.
and Asia already got 3 block shots. 2 of them coming in the same play.
All right. That's crazy.
So I cracked the joke, said sweet, asked my brother to grab the broom. But when you look at the way that the game's got to be played, there's no disrespect in no sense of the word. I'm from Chicago, so I'm always gonna root for the Sky. I love that light blue yellow colorway.
Ooh.
I think that is such a nasty little colorway. But at the end of the day, I just think that we're too deep of a team, and we don't even have Candace back.
Right. Candace been out since July.
Yeah,
July.
and so I just think we're just too deep, and it just is what it is.
All right.
Next up, your girls, the Washington Mystics at number 7, going up against could have been the number 1 seed. They finished the season strong.
Yeah.
Came up a little short of the number 1 seed. So New York Liberty at number 2, going up against the Washington Mystic.
Yeah.
Who you got?
So with this one is people like, I actually think this one's a little tough. Here's why. Because you have the New York Liberty, you have the super team, and it looks like they're finally trying to click in terms of getting chemistry. We talked about early in the season, Ralph, how when you have a new team and those type of star players that you need to get chemistry, right? And so that's why we like the Aces in the finals if they were to meet the finals. However, one thing I noticed about the Liberty, Ralph, is that they get outscored, and Breanna Stewart is on the bench. I believe they're getting outscored by like a crazy margin, 20-some points or something. And so that's kind of telling to me. And then I look on the Mystic side, you have Elena Deladon, who's had, I believe, back surgery, and she's coming back finally fully healthy for the first time. And, former league MVP. And now you have Shakira Stevenson. You have some of the other pieces getting healthy at the right time. And so I think just going in and being able to cause the Liberty some issues, I think that can be telling. And I think they have depth. And I think they're just a hard-nosed team. And they also have a perfect blend of veteran leadership and young pieces. Also, Breanna Stewart tends to struggle a little bit, not a little bit, but it's a battle when she faces Elena Deladon. And both of those players are what we call, two-way players, or players that play defense. So I'm going to do something here, right? It's a best of 3, right? And usually as the longer the series, the better team wins, right? I'm going to go with the Washington Mystics in a surprising upset in the first year of the super team of the New York Liberty. Now, I could wind up being wrong. Fool, I'll take my L. But I think in the first year, let's see if the Mystics can actually pull off the upset, and the Liberty have to come back next year and, make that run. I understand that I'm being the party pooper here because I know you and everybody else wants to see, let's be real, the Liberty, you know what I'm saying? But the Mystics are a good team too. So I'm going to roll with my DMV sisters, and I'm going to roll with the Mystics in the upset. So, hey, why not?
Because I have been so high on the New York Liberty and seeing them in up against the Aces. I'm gonna ride with my squad. On the other end, I'm gonna take the New York Liberty. I can definitely see it because I'm going back and I'm looking at these point totals from Breanna Stewart, and I do think that they can go as far as she takes them. But at the same time, it's not like she's the only person on that team.
Right.
Jonquel Jones, Sabrina Vandersloot. So I think that they're deep. I don't know if they're as deep as the Aces, but the talent at the top, I think, is going to be able to push them forward. You never know what can happen in a 3-game series.
Right.
So it's not like I don't think what you're saying is crazy, but I'm definitely going to go with New York Liberty.
Sabrina Ionescu.
They've already played one game.
Yeah.
Connecticut beat the brakes for them. So,
yeah.
In my personal opinion, sweet. Rob, get the
you had that dramatic pause. I was waiting for you to say it. I was like,
Connecticut Sun finna get them out of here, bro. Get them out of here.
Oh man, yeah, man, bro. Woo, bro, that game was rough, man. I was like, man, I'm about to put on the Spotify app, man, cook some dinner after that game, man. Yeah, no disrespect.
Get
but
the slow jams, bro. I'm about to go.
Yeah. The slow jam. So here's the thing about this matchup. That matchup was like the worst draw for them, in my opinion. That was just a horrible draw for them. And what's crazy is so they're the 3 seed, right?
Yeah.
So Alyssa Thomas was actually my MVP. And it's not crazy, I don't think she's gonna win the MVP. Breanna Stewart, we were just talking about how she got the AP Player of the Year. Now Asia could still win because it was actually by a narrow margin that Breanna Stewart got that. But I want to focus on this series and this game. Yeah. Alyssa Thomas. So for people out there who aren't familiar with Alyssa Thomas's game, she's a center who's 6'2", but is leading the league in assists. She's a point center. She's arguably the best defender or one of the best defenders in the WNBA. And she actually defends 1 through 5. So like Asia Wilson's, Breanna Stewart, no knock to them. They're good defenders, but they can't defend a guard and then go all the way up and defend the 5. Like that's rare. She's leading the NBA in triple-double. She's had 6 this season. There's only 40 games. And she's the first player in league history to record 20 points, 20 rebounds, and 10-plus assists all in a single game. She's doing this with no other MVP on her team, Ralph. It's simply amazing. So she's doing all this stuff with less help, and she has a Connecticut Sun who weren't even slated as a playoff team to the number 3 seed. One of her players tore their Achilles, had season-ending surgery. So you would look at that and say, okay, well, they're not going to make the WNBA Finals. I never said they'll make the WNBA Finals, but I do have them winning this series. And a sweep. So I think Alyssa Thomas, her play, and I was looking at like the passing too in this game. It's simply incredible. So I'm not going to harp on this series too much. I'm with you, man. I got the Connecticut Sun, and I'll let you take the rest away because I think you have a potential upset, maybe.
Yeah, man. And I think this next one is going to be. I think it's definitely going to be the closest.
Okay.
When it comes to the what do you say? When it comes to how the competitiveness of this series, I think it's going to be the closest that we're going to see. I think we're going to go wire to wire, although the last time that they played didn't look so well. Wasn't so wire to wire. But I think that the Atlanta Dream have a lot of young talent. You got Cheyenne Parker, Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard, and the love of my life. No, I'm just joking. My girl gonna whoop. My girl gonna whoop. I'm playing. But Haley Jones, I'm a big fan of her. I think they have a lot of good young talent. So I think that if they can neutralize, and I always feel like I say her name a little wrong. But where is it at? Orike Ogunbowale. I hope I'm saying her name right. But she's a bucket, bro. She scored 32 points in the last game. But when you look at the point totals of her teammates, it's like she'll have these 30-point outbursts, and then you have the next person after that has 15.
Yeah.
And so I think if you can neutralize her to a certain degree, bring her down to where she has a 25-point game and still keep that 10 to 15, you can put yourself in a position where you can get the victory. It's not that big of an upset, but I definitely got the Atlanta Dream going on to the next round.
All right. I like that. 4 or 5 matchups are always tough too.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong either way.
Fact.
You know? All right. I like that. Okay. And that was the last matchup we had for the first, for this round, for the round. Yeah. Okay.
And then next up, for the sake of time, we're gonna cut one of the topics, but Colorado beat the brakes off of Nebraska, struggled a little bit in the first half, but came out, ended up pretty much doubling Nebraska's point total. AP polls have them at 18 now.
Yeah.
How do we feel?
I think that it's solid. I actually think they might even be a little bit higher. I saw Alabama at 1-1. I know, you got to factor in competition, different things, but they did beat a ranked team in their first matchup, who was the runner-up to the championship last season in TCU. And then now they beat Nebraska. So I watched that game. They beat them 36-14, Ralph. And one thing about Nebraska is as the game waned, you started to see that pass rush of Nebraska kind of get through to Shedeur. With just 4 people. So they weren't even really blitzing. They have these big, they call them corn huskers, right? Well, they definitely eat a lot of cornbread, man. Because those boys were big, bro.
Big cornbread linemen.
Yeah, I was looking at it like, wait a second, bro. They on that Jiffy cornbread, man. So, But this is a team that, once again, the Colorado Buffaloes, they were projected to win 3.5 and up. And then it moved up to 5.5 wins. And so now I think that they can definitely potentially get a win next week. And they run a spread offense. It's all going to be key on the trenches. What's going to happen when they play a team like Oregon? I believe it's Oregon. I think they're playing down. Yeah, Oregon before they even play USC. That has a lot of athleticism and a lot of size in the trenches. So I want to see what's going to happen with them and can they stay healthy, because this is a game where they didn't keep Shedeur completely clean, but Shedeur once again was able to make passes and make right decisions. So there was some things like Deion says, and you could tell when Deion is halftime speeches and post-game talk with Jenny Taft, he always talks about cleaning up things, right?
Yeah.
We definitely have some things to clean up. And I think what's going to help Shedeur, Ralph, is a running game. If they can get something out of the running game, man, because Nebraska, they bottled it up. And that's really my concern is
2 games in a row.
Right.
Where they don't even have a runner over 60 yards, 50, 60 yards.
Right. And I think that's going to ultimately, if they do have a slip up down the line, just projecting, that will be the case. But I think just them being ranked in the top 25 and now in the top 20, I think that is a fair ranking. What's your opinions on that, man?
I do too, man. I think it's a fair ranking. I think given the competition, like going from unranked to being at 22, I think is what they moved up 4 spots to get to 18.
Yeah.
Unranked to 22 after beating TCU, who was in the national championship game last year and lost. You play against a Nebraska team who's in the process of a rebuild when it comes to college football terms. And so you struggle in the first half. Shedeur has another 300-yard, almost 350 yards passing, multiple touchdowns. At this point, he has about almost close to 900 yards passing, if not over 900 yards passing. So I think he almost had 400 yards passing. And so when you look at those numbers, it's like, all right, cool. Let me see. You're still playing well. You were dominant, which in college football, college football is the only sport where your margin of victory matters. Because in most sports, you win by 1 point, you win by 20 points, a win is a win.
Right.
Like TikTok audio says. And so I think at the end of the day, getting that victory, dominant victory, move on. Next week, we got our in-state rival, Colorado State. You put the beats on them, you're only going to move up, and it's going to make these premier games when you play the Oregons, the USCs, the Oregon State, who I think is going to be that's going to be someone that it's going to be a big game when they play Oregon State, and I
Yeah,
don't think enough people are talking about that particular game.
right. Okay, I like it. And also, I noticed documented something. 8 teams ranked in the AP top 25 are actually from the Pac-12. So you
Right.
can make a case that the best conference quarterback play this season is the Pac-12 because you have Caleb Williams, you have Shador Sanders, and these are Heisman candidates. So, yeah.
And so we got some of our quick hitters, man. This was supposed to be a major topic, but we got to make it real quick.
Yeah.
NBA top 100 players list has been put out. I forgot who it was. I think it was CBS.
CBS Sports, yes.
Did a top 100 players list.
Mhm.
Real quick, give me somebody that's you think is ranked too high or too low.
Okay, so who is ranked too high? Luka Doncic, the lack of defense, the fact that he's hunted on defense. Repeat, defense. And that is one half of the game of basketball. And also, he's inability to play off the ball. I believe that he contributed to some of the struggles they had. Someone who is ranked too low, respectfully, Kyrie Irving. I think that some of the players they had ahead of Kyrie Irving, I think they had, was it Bam? And they had somebody. I was trying to pull up the list really, really quick. But I know there was like at least 3 players, Ralph, that I personally had Kyrie Irving. I'm like, he should be way higher than that. So Kyrie Irving was one. Then I think Victor Wembanyama being a rookie, no play was a little ranked too high. But what about you? Who do you have too high, and too low?
Too high.
Yeah.
Compared to some people that – so we got Michael Porter Jr., C.J. McCollum, Chet Holmgren, Miles Turner. Austin Reeves is ranked higher.
Right, that's who it was. Reeves.
Than these players. No
Right.
disrespect to Austin Reeves. Good quality role, young man.
Right.
But ranked too high, bro. Miles Turner is a rim protector. Scotty Barnes, I believe, is a better player as well.
Mm-hmm.
And CJ McCollum, his bag, he has one of the deepest bag when it comes to the mid-range game, being able to create a jumper, being able to play on ball, off ball, point guard, shooting guard, combo guard. Like, I just think that I would much rather have a CJ McCollum over an Austin Reeves.
Yeah.
Now
I'll take Tyrese Maxey too.
Within 2-3 years, but
Yeah.
it just is what it is. And so I think ranked too high, Austin Reeves. Ranked too low. How do you win an MVP and you're not a top 5 player? Joel Embiid.
All right.
And two-way player, shoot the 3, dominant in the paint, take you off the dribble, back to the basket, face up. I just watched Nick Nurse on the Patrick Beverly podcast. I was making jokes with my brother, but given the context of the conversation, he's going to have him in a certain spot where you can see him being a Jokic type player in that offense, whatever offense that Nick Nurse is going to run. And so I think that they're too often, given what they've been asked to do, there's this huge disparity between the two. See what I did there? But but at the same time, I think that I just disagree with it.
Okay. I rock with those.
Next up, Coco Gauff being able to come in, get a victory, ends the American drought when it comes to the Grand Slam in the tennis sport. What are your thoughts?
Historical, spectacular, outstanding, amazing. All those words, all those wonderful adjectives. Someone hand me a thesaurus, please, man, so I can continue. But for her to do it, she won her first Grand Slam, Ralph, at 19. First American to win, I believe, the U.S. Open since Sloane Stephens in 2017. And she came in hot, winning 18 of her last 19 matches. She trusted her athleticism and her speed. And she was the underdog actually in this match too. So let's not forget about that. And so that just adds on to the legend, adds on to the legend, to the story, excuse me. And she's the youngest woman to make the finals since Serena Williams did it. I believe Serena was 16 years old, or no, 17 years old, and that was back in 1999. So that was back when I wasn't even learning how to type on Mavis Beacon, man. I was watching, that's when PBS Kids was like, nice, man, all that stuff. So that was amazing, and I have her down. It says the 6th title this year, most in the WTA tour. And what's crazy about it, real quick, Ralph, is that she hasn't even played her best tennis. She's 19.
Right.
So the best is yet to come. Let's protect her at all costs, pray for good health and blessings down the line. So shout out to Coco Gauff. We appreciate you.
Most definitely, man. Everything that you said, bro, shouts out to her. She's doing her thing, 19 years old, has a lot to learn, and she's appreciative to the ones that came before her. So it's good to see good, young, humble talent. But also, when you go and you look at it, man, she loses the first set 6-2.
Right.
Runs off 6-3, 6-2 to get the victory.
Yeah.
And so big shout out to her, man. I'm not the hugest tennis sport, but when I see someone who looks like me out there being dominant, makes you want to tune in.
All right.
Next up, Aaron Rodgers, man. It sucks, bro. I don't have any I just like football, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And so given what that team needed, given what Aaron Rodgers has been able to do, one of the greatest throwers of the football we've seen, it leads me with this. He's 39, gonna turn 40, gonna have to rehab from a ruptured Achilles tendon, out for the season. It leads you to the question, man, is this the last time we've seen him?
I believe that it's not the last time we've seen him. I believe he's going to take I don't even want to say it should be, excuse me. But what I mean is the likelihood of him, coming back stronger than ever and being great is more slimmer. And so that's why I'd be like, if I was him, I would rest. But the reason why I don't think it's the last time to see him real quick is simply because of everything that we're hearing coming from the media, from the players, from the coaches, saying that Aaron approached the offseason great professionally, helping Zach Williams, building rapport with Garrett Wilson, getting the receivers acclimated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He was doing all the right things, Ralph, in the offseason from organizational standpoint, leadership standpoint, starting quarterback standpoint, ingratiating himself with the Jets culture. So I think because of that, he feels he owes the team something. So I think because of that, he's going to come back. But in terms of the likelihood of like a level of success, it's something where I would err on the end of caution. But I would never tell a player like, hey, just hang it up. You know what I'm saying? It's not my place to say that. So yeah.
I get that, man. I agree. I think it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be a long road. 39 years old, coming back from an Achilles tendon, which is something that Isaiah Thomas, that ended his career. I know this was 20, almost 30 plus years ago that this happened. So we're looking at a different era when it comes to modern medicine. But it's going to be hard for him to come back from that role, especially given the mobility that he had. It's definitely going to make him much more of a pocket passer. So his ability to throw the ball, I think that this could be a blessing in disguise for the team itself, because you can have him mentor Zach Wilson while also giving Zach Wilson the keys to run the team. But it also can humble Zach Wilson to a certain point. Like, if you don't come correct, you're not going to be the man to win to lead this squad.
Yeah.
So it showed being able to lead that team back to a victory. That was a heck of a catch that Garrett Wilson had.
Bro, Sports Center top 10 play of the week,
bro. Yeah. And so I think that defense is strong enough to keep them going. Breece Hall showing strong comeback. Dalvin Cook, Garrett Wilson, Allen Lazard, Randall Cobb. You got veteran mixed in with young talent, McCole Hardman. I think that they're going to be able to mix in a little bit of both on both sides, young and veteran leadership, to be able to make a run. And as long as Zach Wilson can keep the ball on his side of the field and not have turnovers, I think they're going to be in a good spot.
All right.
But thank you all for watching. Make sure you go and follow all of our socials, like I mentioned before. Like the page on Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram. Thank you all for watching. It's been a pleasure. We out of here. Go Aces.
Aces. Was that the rock symbol?